Hola, and welcome once again to the Schaefer Small Engine Shop and Two-Car Garage. I thought I'd show you this Simpson Excell. Actually, it's a DeVilbiss Excell pressure washer I've been working on for my friend Jim. Nothing special here, just some of the misery that you have to go through to work on things. And the only special thing about it is the pumps that came off of it, pump singular that came off of it, which is something I've never seen before. But these are good pressure washers. DeVilbiss makes first-rate equipment. This is 6 horse. It's got a Briggs Quantum engine on it, which is it's a 2007 pump and 2007 engine, but it started right up. It just had no pressure. So I'll bring you in a little bit closer and show you what I've done to it. This is the pump that came off of it. This is another pump that Jim had, and he has had this pressure washer at a place here in town that works on pressure washers, and the man told him he had done all he could do with it. This pump here has got a big X marked on it. I figure this is probably the original pump that came off this thing. This is a pump that he put on it, and after getting this pump off, I understand why he didn't want to fool with it anymore. These are obsolete pumps. There's no parts, nothing like them available in the marketplace. So I had to find a replacement pump, and that's the pump that I've installed on here. Now you notice these monsters have this round mounting plate that had 4 bolts in it, but the pump that I've put on it is a modern pump, a 3-legged pump, but it fit right on it. I had to swap the hardware because this little flange here is thin and the legs on this new pump are thick. I had to get longer mounting bolts for it, which was no big deal. And the real struggle is getting the pump on and getting this pump off without the motor falling on the floor. So let me set you up a little better and I'll show you what I had to do to it. I undid the 4 bolts that held on this bizarre pump, and which required tool, universal joint to get in there to them. And I like 1/4-inch stuff. It's light, it's easy to use, just a lot more convenient for me to use that than 3/8 drive, or 1/2-inch drive. Stuff's out of the question. But anyway, the pump slid right off. Didn't have to get my pickle bar or anything to get the pump off. And I had the new pump, and it would kind of go on. When you take the mounting bolts off, well, of course, the motor falls off of it. So I'm trying to figure out, am I going to put this thing up in its normal position and then try to put the pump on from the bottom where you can't see what you're doing that way? trying to get the keyway lined up, key slot in the pump with the key slot that's in the crankshaft of the engine. Well, that didn't work. Then I tried to take the whole thing around, turn the turtle upside down on its back, where I'm putting the pump on from the top. Well, that kind of worked, but the motor kept flipping and flopping around. Plus, I couldn't really see what I was doing. So as a solution, I got one of my old motorcycle tie downs, strapped it here and around the top of the engine, pulled it tight to hold the engine to the frame. And then with it like this, I can kind of see what I'm doing, trying to get everything lined up, trying to get the bolts through, the new longer bolts through the legs where I could get a nut on them, and trying to get the keyways lined up. Now these pressure washer pumps, every one of them I've ever fooled with, comes with this little short keyway, key stock, which to me is too short. You got about 1.5 inch groove in the crankshaft. You got another 1.5 inch in the pump itself, but the pump, the drive part of the pump doesn't go all the way up to the engine. So to me, one thing that I needed to do was to go buy a piece of 3/16 key stock and cut a longer key. Instead of being 1 inch, I cut it about 1.5 inches. And this piece of key stock, if you have a Sutherland's anywhere near you, the Sutherland's here in Shreveport has got the best hardware section in the city, hands down. They have everything: nuts, bolts, key stock, steel. The Sutherland's here is pretty close to me, not as close as the Home Depot, but they had everything I wanted. It was cheap and available, particularly this piece of 3/16 key stock. That's what I was really after. Well, anyway, I got the thing on, finally, got it secured with one nut, and then the other two, everything lined up just exactly like it was supposed to. And then I could take my tie down off and proceed on. I had just finished changing the oil in it, and we're about ready to take it outside and put some gas in it and give it a tug. But I'll show you one thing about these modern 3-legged pumps. They've got this, I can't even remember what you call the thing now. It's like a bypass valve. They call it something else, but you can adjust the pressure of it by screwing the nut in. And these monsters over here, if there's any adjustment on them, I have no idea how to do it. But these are easy to fool with. I've done a bunch of them, and ordinarily, when these pumps won't hold pressure, they won't put out any pressure, these little bypass valves here are what the problem is. And they pull out, and you can buy them, replace them very inexpensively. But these old antique pumps he had, they're just not worth fooling with. These are some of the tools that it took to do it. Little persuader here, little rubber persuader, helped get the pump on where it butts up as far as it's going to against the motor. And I think this thing's about ready to go. We're going to get it upright, and we'll take it outside and give it a tug, see if it'll run. One other thing I'll mention is I do not like these vertical shaft pressure washers. Everything on them is hard to get to. The best thing to do is to leave your pressure hose hooked up and to make a little short pigtail and put it on the hose inlet. Then you're not down on your hands and knees every time you want to fool with one of these things, trying to hook all the hoses up. Now I go to hook up Jimmy's, and this O-ring is completely rotten. So I've got an O-ring kit here. Let me see if I can find an O-ring to put in there so I can hook it up. All right, let's see what we got.
Hope this helps somebody. Thanks for watching.